We have a few news items to cover from around the Ontario Hockey League, from signings at the OHL level and the NHL level. But we're going to start things off with a coaching vacancy in Guelph. The Storm have announced that they've relieved Chad Wiseman of his head coaching duties with the team. Comes as a bit of a surprise. This Guelph Storm team last year, a series of unfortunate events. They had plenty of injuries throughout the regular season and into the playoffs. They also had the question marks about Matthew Poitras. Would he or would he not stay with the Boston Bruins? He ended up staying with the organization after the World Juniors, but suffered an injury which cemented the decision about would Poitras return to this Guelph Storm team. But the biggest problem this team seemed to have was goal scoring, because this team, they were in the thick of it for most of the regular season, but in the second half really started to fall off, nearly falling out of the Western Conference playoff picture. So George Burnett, the general manager, making that decision this morning that they'd be moving on from Chad Wiseman and will begin the process of finding a new head coach to take over for the Storm organization. For Chad Wiseman, he joined the Storm in the 2018-19 season as an assistant coach. That was also the year the Guelph Storm last won the OHL championship over the Ottawa 67s. Wiseman, he wouldn't be named head coach until September 2022, and he had a record of 68, 56, 10, and 2 over 2 seasons behind the bench in Guelph. So right now, there's no word on who will take over. Obviously, it's going to be a long offseason, so they'll want to take the appropriate steps to find out what direction this team's going to go and who they would like to have as the voice behind the bench. Mind you, George Burnett, he has a history of being a general manager and head coach in the Ontario Hockey League. He's had that position with this Guelph Storm organization in the past, also with the Belleville Bulls and with the Niagara Falls Thunder. So George Burnett, well known around the junior hockey ranks. He has been doing coaching since 1989. That's when he got his first start with the Niagara Falls Thunder after being an assistant coach with the Oshawa Generals. And since then, he's had stops in Guelph, Oshawa, Belleville, and Hamilton, and then returned to Guelph in 2017. So I'm not sure if he's interested in becoming a head coach once again, but Burnett, as a coach, he has a record of 774, 655, 51, and 92. So he is one of the winningest coaches in OHL history. So if he decides to go back behind the bench, he brings experience. And maybe that's what this Guelph Storm team needs going forward, or we'll have to wait and see. I've met George Burnett. I've interviewed him a couple of times when he was with the Belleville Bulls. Great guy. He's got this great hockey IQ, and he's been doing a great job with this Guelph Storm organization, trying to rebuild. He was the architect in building that team in 2019 to go on that run to the Memorial Cup, obviously falling short. That was the Memorial Cup in Halifax, but still, he's done a great job with this Guelph Storm organization. It's just unfortunate that Chad Wiseman will now have to look elsewhere for work, but there are other coaching vacancies in the OHL. So does Chad Wiseman become a candidate for the Sudbury Wolves? What are they doing in Windsor? That's still a question mark. So obviously during the offseason, I'll follow along to keep you updated as to what's going on with coaching on the teams that have vacancies, and that now includes the Guelph Storm. Now some signings, starting off with Andrew Gibson of the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. He has signed his 3-year entry-level contract with the Detroit Red Wings. He played in all 68 games this season with the Greyhounds, 12 goals, 32 assists, 44 points. Gibson stands 6'4", 206 pounds. He logs a lot of minutes on that back end for the Greyhounds. Did a great job during the regular season and into the OHL playoffs. So he's been rewarded for his efforts with the Detroit Red Wings. He was selected in the second round, 42nd overall in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft, and he will now join the Grand Rapid Griffins of the American Hockey League for the remainder of the season. So big congratulations going out to Gibson. Now, we also have some OHL signings to talk about. We've got 3 players who have now signed over the last 48 hours. Starting off with Ryder Carey. He signed his OHL Education and Standard Agreement with the North Bay Battalion. Carey attended orientation camp over the weekend up in North Bay. He was selected 16th overall from the Oakville Rangers, where he put up 30 goals, 66 points in 40 games. So he'll be a good addition there for North Bay going forward. It was also announced this morning that the Ottawa 67s have signed their first-round pick, 11th overall, Nathan Amadovsky. Amidovsky played center for the Barrie Colts under-16 team, and he's described as a smooth skater with strong offensive skill set. So he registered 40 goals last season and 69 points in 33 games. So Amidovsky, I think he'll be counted upon with this 67s group going forward. He'll be a key piece in 2 years' time, I think, when the 67s are ready to contend again in the Eastern Conference. And Amidovsky, I know a lot of Barrie Colt fans were hoping that maybe he would somehow end up with the Barrie Colts OHL level team, but still, that was a really good Barrie Colts under-16 team. And Amidovsky now signing his OHL standard agreement with the Ottawa 67s. And just before coming on to record this video, the Kitchener Rangers have announced that they have signed their first-round pick, Evan Hedrick. He was selected 15th overall. So Hedrick, the latest player to join or to sign his OHL agreement. And last season, he played with the Oakville Rangers, which, of course, they won the OHL Cup. So a lot of great talent coming off that Oakville Rangers team. Even Ethan Belchetz, of course, he played for Oakville as well, and then was drafted first overall by the Windsor Spitfires. So this is the news that we can expect over the next few weeks as we find out more players signing their commitments to the OHL, which is an exciting time for these guys as training camp. It's ready to begin at the end of August. We also have a lot of the orientation camps now starting to wrap up. Some teams, they wait until August for their orientation camps. So these players in all different stages, but in the end, getting ready for next season. And of course, tonight, the East and Western Conference Finals resume. The London Knights right now a 2-0 series lead on Saginaw. That series now shifts to the Dow Event Center in Saginaw, while the Oshawa Generals up 2-0 in their series with the Battalion, and that series will now shift to North Bay tonight. So that's how I see it from the booth. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on any of these items. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.